Alright guys, hope you're all doing well, hope you're all keeping safe. I've been home working today after about 5 days off for Easter here in the UK, and I can't do anything but think about just kind of dropping my work and getting on and playing some Outriders. It's been a very long time since I found a game that makes me want to play all of the time. Destiny at times did and still does. The Division has, and the Division 2 did at times and still does sometimes. But that's about it. Outriders is quickly becoming very addictive to play, something I never imagined it would become after playing the demo. And it's a good thing too, because the instability issues that I faced and am still facing is pretty unrelenting. It's actually pretty unacceptable. If this had happened to any other game that maybe I wasn't quite invested into, I probably would have put the game down by now. So what's going on? So yesterday I jumped on for about 5 or 6 hours. It may have even been longer than that. Most of the time I spent running through expeditions because I'm still trying to get to the Eye of the Storm. I'm trying to increase my tiers as much as possible. I think I'm at tier 10 at the moment, possibly. As a mostly kind of solo player, what I've realised pretty quickly whilst playing through the campaign and certainly playing through expeditions is that playing solo can be very difficult, mainly because you're the only target. You take all the aggro, which can quickly overwhelm you, even as a Technomancer, which, the self-heal is pretty strong there. The best experience comes from either playing duos or as a free, although playing as a free can be a little bit bullet spongy. Which means that the majority of the time I'm having to matchmake when I want to play expeditions with random groups. Now firstly, matchmaking in this game with a random group is pretty terrible, because 90% of the time the matchmaking it just fails. I get this error message all of the time. It's become something that I dream about. I've seen it so much recently. I thought it might be tied to crossplay, but even when I disable crossplay, which I've done, it's still the same. It's 90% of the time this comes up. I had thought it was because the matchmaking was trying to find players with kind of like the best connection for you to join. And if that is true, I mean, I don't actually know what the system is behind it. If that is true, then it's definitely broken. After about the 10th time, most of the time of trying to find a group and finally getting into one, 9 times out of those 10, the connection to that group is usually pretty terrible. I've had quite a few circumstances where I've kind of just lost connection to host. If I don't get that, then it's just huge lag spikes, it's missing shots, and it's teleporting. It actually becomes unplayable sometimes. And then of course you get the hard crashes, which is the worst by far. I think yesterday I counted, it must have been 7 hard crashes from expeditions back to the Xbox home screen. And it's not just expeditions that do this. It's pretty much in every scenario. I thought this might be tied to matchmaking into a group. And that might still be true. There may be an issue there. There may be a bug there that's causing this. But I played solo on monster hunts, and the same thing happened. One time yesterday I fast travelled to a camp, and as it loaded in, it hard crashed. I remember being in expeditions and going back to lobby, that hard crashed. So it seems to just be a bug in the game that's coming into effect everywhere. And what makes it worse is when this happens and you go to log back in, every single time you get this error at least once before it finally lets you back in. This error that everyone's probably seen who's played Outriders at this point, saying that there's server issues. This comes up every single time, if not more than once, every single time it hard crashes back to Xbox. So yeah, it's all going good. Now, I've been pretty active on Twitter recently. It does appear that more and more people are having a better time now since the latest fixes from the devs. But on the flip side, there's still plenty of people who are having real issues. I've actually got 2 polls currently ongoing on Twitter and here on YouTube with the community tab, so I'm waiting on the results to kind of see how widespread the issues still are. I expect the results to be in favour of people not having stability issues any longer, but I don't think it will be by a whole lot. And I think this is what I'm most disappointed with. In fact, if I check Twitter now, the results have came in that more people are not experiencing issues. But if I look at my YouTube community tab, then more people are experiencing issues. So it's kind of, I would say at this point, 50-50. Now, this is mostly my own personal experience from most of this stuff. But for some people, they've either had kind of no issues at all, or they may have had some initially and it's kind of gone away. Also, I know that a lot of AAA games these days, they come out and they have issues. You've only got to look at Cyberpunk as the kind of latest example. But I still don't think that you can kind of excuse the issues, especially for Outriders, where they had a demo and the game was delayed as well. I presume to give the devs more time to fix issues. You know, stress testing in that process is meant to pick up these issues so the devs can fix issues before launch. That's what I'm talking about here, is mainly the server stuff that we had initially when the game was launched, which doesn't appear to be such an issue anymore. Obviously, the game at launch, when it comes to servers, it failed pretty bad. There's an argument that the initial server issues were where players could not get in was due to kind of unprecedented amount of players jumping on. But I don't think you could say unprecedented. The demo would have given a good indication of the amount of players, and of course the game was put on Xbox Game Pass, which would have brought in a huge audience. Thankfully, I think the server issues, as I said, have been resolved for the most part. What I'm actually experiencing, and I think a lot of people are experiencing, doesn't have anything to do with servers, I don't believe, and is instead somewhat in-game that's causing hard crashes and stuff with matchmaking, really. And this video isn't meant to be a kind of negative bash at the devs for the instability, but more of an event for me, I guess, because, like I said, I'm really addicted to this game right now. But I can't ignore the issues I'm personally facing and others with instability as well. Yesterday, I got only my second legendary, and it was it was very exciting. Side note though, if anyone from People Can Fly watch this, which is probably very unlikely, is there a way to make legendary drops look more legendary? Right now they drop kind of like a little yellow glow, yellowy orangey glow, which is sometimes indistinguishable from other loot drops. If you look at something like the Division 2, when you get an exotic, you get that kind of red beam from the drop, and you can see it from a mile off. Here you don't really get that, and the first or the second drop that I got, I didn't even realise that I actually got a legendary drop because it kind of just meshed in with everything else. I think having something like that where you really can distinguish a legendary drop from other stuff, I think it would just add excitement. That's all. All I want to do really though, guys, is I just want to play this game, matchmake with other people and enjoy it. But honestly, guys, yesterday it got so bad that I actually expected a hard crash every time I ran an expedition. And just now, as of me making this video, I'm kind of playing it at the same time. One of the more popular Outriders kind of news Twitter pages has reported inventory wipe issues. This was a previous problem found in the demo, and it does appear to have reared its kind of ugly head again. My main concern is not that I don't think the game will fail because of its content, because as I said in yesterday's video, it has a lot of content. It feels like a full game, and it's very rare that you get games like that these days. So it's not a case of what it has to offer, but it's more to do with the amount of bugs and stability issues and stuff that we thought had been fixed, maybe like this inventory issue, but that have kind of come back again. The last update we had about ongoing issues from the official Outriders Twitter account, which has been very active and very vocal, which, you know, you have to clap for because it's been great, and not many games do that. That was a couple of days ago, and whilst there's no doubt they are still working the problem, it's now kind of been 5 days or so since launch, and even today I was unable to connect to a server. When I was playing earlier on as well today, I had a hard crash after one run of an expedition, and when I did play the second expedition, the lag was insane, to the point where I thought it was going to hard crash. It didn't, but I really felt like I was kind of just teleporting everywhere. Now, the inventory wipe bug has come back for some people. Hopefully it doesn't come back for me or for any of you guys, and hopefully the devs are aware of this so they can fix it again, because if they fixed it before, it clearly hasn't worked. I know the devs are working hard, but they really kind of have to get a hold of this, otherwise that 100k concurrent player base currently will dwindle if they can't get onto these bugs. I think people can accept a couple of days for a lot of these bugs, but when it starts to get to weeks, then I think people are really going to start to get frustrated with that. I'm not there yet, and I can't imagine myself being there anytime soon, because I simply just love the game and I love playing it, and it's a lot of fun. But I think once people actually get to the end game and they get all the stuff they want, at that point they're not going to accept issues like this. But that's it, guys. Thanks very much for watching until the end. Hopefully you did enjoy this one. If you did, drop a like, subscribe to the channel for Outriders and the Division. There's been no real Division news recently, so that's why there's been no kind of Division videos on the channel. As soon as there is some news, or there is a topic maybe that you guys want me to talk about, or a topic that comes up that I want to talk about, then sure, I'll have it here on the channel, so make sure you've got notifications turned on, and that way you won't miss either Outriders or the Division. But thanks very much for watching. Until the next one, Epic out.